Good morning. I'm higher vibrations, and so are you. There is so much going on right now that I thought we'd join right now. I apologize that this is starting later than normal, by the way. It's like the first spring day here, so we kind of took our opportunity to go and spend some time in the sun. So we're having a lot of really cool things happen energetically right now, and that's increasing our ascension symptom experience. There's like a lot of we're in the equinox energy, though where you live, you may actually be celebrating the equinox right now, and other places in the planet we're celebrating it tomorrow, though the energy's already here. Pluto is moving into Aquarius, which is a really awesome and positive experience that we're having. That's going to get only last for like a month, though. That's like a taste of what it's going to be like for like 20 years. Next year, it's coming back and going back into Aquarius and going to stay there for 20 years. And just a lot of other things that are we're in the new moon energy and just all of this stuff, the solar flares. Many of us are having intensified ascension symptoms, and in celebration, it's still really great. It just a lot of it can be unsettling. It's an experience that doesn't feel that great. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Jeff. Good to see you. You're welcome, Jeff. Thank you. Heidi says, hello, happy Sunday. Carmen, hello. Alien babies are watching. Yeah, there's been a heightened recollection in participating in allowing for your seed or whatever, some kind of energy, stuff like that, exchange with ETs. And I don't know why that's all coming out right now, where people are remembering that right now. It's not a given. Not everyone has had that experience, just to be clear. It's that many people have. Hi, Jackie. Hey, Deanna. Happy Sunday to you all as well. One thing I just found I'm finding happening is the change in texture of my hair. It almost feels like when I'm washing it, it feels like perhaps it's going gray in that spot because there's a different texture. And then, or another way to say it, it feels kind of like there's pitch or tree sap in it. And then all of a sudden, now that part of my hair is more soft. It's over a period of months that this has happened, and I just noticed it just now it's soft. That's very interesting. I'm saying that because a lot of people talk about hair, and hair is our antenna. All of it, every species of animal have some type of antenna, right? And for us, it's our hair. And speaking of that, a lot of individuals who hadn't had any experience with sensing energy or touching energy before will often start by feeling like little teeny hairs on the top of your head, maybe being moved, not in order to cause you harm. It's just, hey, I'm here, and like you feel it. A lot of times too, it's you noticing just your own energy that you're moving things. Just like we get the chills and we have goosebumps and our hair stands on end when we notice certain energies and stuff like that. It's happening with the top of the head, which is saying that it's a profound experience for such a heavy, bit of hair to be moved in that way. Also, this tickling thing. While we move into this new energy, there's a skin tickly experience that can be very pleasant. A lot of people find that it is after getting over the startle experience of it. So that's something else too. Julie says, my hair texture has changed a bit too. Awesome. Thank you for the validation. Very strange. Like, I'm not opposed to it. It's just a peculiar experience. With hair, there's been a variety of things people have reported about. However, one of the most common ones is the hair loss. I haven't had that experience personally. I don't really. I've had other friends who have dyed their hair and then overnight wake up and their hair is back to their natural color. And then it's not that the dye rubbed off on their pillow or anything like that. It's just it reverted back. And I have other friends who quite truly they lost the gray in their hair. And so that's just very fascinating. This whole thing about the hair and watching it change and stuff has been really interesting. B.E. Hull says, oh, I got this live. Hi from Norway. Hello. Welcome. I'm glad you're able to join live. if anyone has any questions or anything that they like to have me answer about, like I I've been doing this for a while, and so once you do, after time, you just kind of pick up information about things and stuff like that. So if there is a question that maybe I can help to explain why we're having a certain ascension symptom or anything, you're welcome to put it in the comment section here on this live, and I'll respond to you. Deanna says, I'm even more tired and uh, winded up in bed sometimes, sleeping sometimes just to browse. Yeah. I've been having that. I actually wrote that down on in a couple of different ways on my list today of just how the sleep stuff has been really strange. Like, um, well, to everybody is more tired than normal for the most part. Like I think I've heard a few people say that they're extra energized. I'm not finding that experience. I am finding myself more excited being in the experiences that I'm in, but I am finding that I'm pretty much always tired right now. Um, Along with that disruption in sleep. And so for what I've been doing for the past month or so, maybe a little bit longer, is I feel very childlike, and like I spend the entire day waiting for bed, just so tired. And finally, when I'm able to, I want to stay awake. And then when I finally do get into bed and go to sleep, I'm only asleep for a short time and then I'm awake. For me, what's happening a lot of times too is I'm waking up in the middle of doing something. I'm actively engaged in conversation with like a committee, or I'm actively doing something. And so it's like really interesting to try to pull myself out of dream time. So, and a heightened lucidity in dreams. A lot of people are reporting that, being able to recall their dreams very clearly as well. So there's a lot of dream sleep stuff. And remember too that when we're sleeping, when we're in dream time, we're most often we are actively engaged in astral self embodiment. So you're busy, you're working. So when you wake up from working, you're going to be more tired, right? And so that does explain some of it. Hello, Vanya. Vanya, I'm not sure if that's how to say your name. Please correct me if that was incorrect. Thank you. Hello, welcome. Pamela says, good afternoon. Eyes, I have a lot of gold in mine last year. Wow, gold in your eyes. That is something that I've heard a lot of that I've heard about a lot of new color appearing in your eyes. Golden is really fascinating. I, um, I have had an alteration in my eyes occur that maybe this is, I don't know if you may resonate with this too, since you're having eye things. It was as if like my eyes were purging something. There was like a goo. And also it seemed like my eyes were like out of focus a little bit more regularly than I wanted them to be. I'm going to the eye doctor. It turns out my eye vision's better than it used to be, it's really interesting. Um, I don't wear glasses or contacts or anything like that, though my vision has improved. And then I found what was occurring was that I was raising my frequency up to a little bit higher level. But when I raise up, I don't just go consistently up. I move up and down like this. And so what I found was happening was I was starting to see in and out of vision of these other things that are in vibrating at a higher frequency, and so and when that was happening, had to do with all this eye stuff that was occurring for me. So I don't know if that resonates with you at all. Thank you for sharing that. That's really cool. Gold, especially being that's like the Christ consciousness, and really the theme of the next 200 years is this Christ consciousness and golden energy. So that's really cool. Vanya says, hello to all. Love being here with you guys. I'm so happy you were able to join us. Welcome. B. Holst says, I think I almost have all the symptoms, right? Yeah, the list is quite long. In fact, I've a few times attempted to create a video with the entire list. And because I use my phone to record and edit, it won't let me upload a larger video than 22 minutes. So I haven't been able to post it. That was like 2 hours long when I did the whole list, though. I do tend to wander off and explain things too. So it's not just saying the whole list. There's a lot of things that people are experiencing. And let's see, let me get back to where, okay, Mother Nature 61 question. I know when energies are very strong, because that's when I have heart palpitations, right? But also coughing with it. What's the coughing about? I have that too. And I kind of feel like what we're doing is we're like, it almost feels like the clutch, like on a motorbike, or like, just like starting a lawnmower. It's like we are like giving momentum, because what's happening there is our higher heart is merging with our known heart kind of in energy. And as that happens, we're trying to get into that same spot. I think that's why, for me in particular, anyway. I've never heard anyone else mention that before, so I haven't said anything. That's very cool. Thank you for that observation. Does anyone else have those experiences, and maybe you have a different understanding about it? Julie says, mostly digestive issues for me. Yes, this is the most common thing that's happening right now. And what this is a little bit encompassing. However, what it is the torso, our body from our tailbone up to the top of our stomach is really the place, and our stomach being like our stomach, not our tummy, so that space that's just right at the base of your rib cage and stuff, down to your tailbone, that area. All of those chakras right now, those 3 chakras, are having a lot of upgrades and activations. Most of us, all of us here right now, if you're here, this is probably most likely true for you as well, that we are very familiar and at home in our higher chakras. We come online and we start waking up and having our spiritual awakening. And often we will go, okay, I got to work on my third eye. We got to open my pineal gland, got to decalcify it, got to do all this stuff, which is very good to do. However, what our focus really where our focus is really needed is those lower chakras, that space where we are not quite as practiced, being in a denser space than we as a group of light energy beings are accustomed to. So yeah, and that as a result, we're having a lot of digestive stuff, certain really strange pains. One thing that I have noticed to be very useful for everybody, no matter where in that region that we're talking about, is to, in a meditative space, so go into meditation and then watch your chakras open. And by doing that, you see the color of the chakra, and then watch that light just expand out. And then as the light expands, you can notice that there's like this disc that's swirling, kind of like the Milky Way, it looks like to me. But the color of the chakra, right? And it spins in a disc-like way, and watch it with intention spinning. And then at some point, allow that motion to change direction. And when that direction changes, we'll notice things that don't harmonize, and they're kind of like stuck in that space, kind of like you're agitating the things out so you can see what doesn't belong, and lets that move out in your mind's eye, moving those densities, those things. What I tend to do is to move them to my digestive tract so they have an exit that's a little bit more easy to handle. So that's something that assists those areas. So whatever chakra area on your body that you're noticing that struggle with, most people it's the solar plexus, or it's the orange one. I always say it wrong. The sacral chakra. There we go. I always say those two the wrong way, and so I get all like stage fright about it when it comes up. Anyway, so noted, those are the 2 most common. And interestingly enough, those are associated with, in particular, the solar plexus is associated with manifestation, and manifestation is being noted that it is coming on and working very fast these days. I saw someone else have another question. I'm sorry, that was a long explanation. Let's see. Excuse me. Daisy says, hi, I am Desi. Hello. So excited to catch a live. Welcome. Good to see you, Desi. Eric says, I'm experiencing that thing where I'm absolutely exhausted all day, but at 10 p.m., I just don't want to sleep. Me too. I'm still tired, but have this nervous feeling. Sometimes I'm up till after midnight. Yeah, I'm happy when I'm asleep before 3 a.m. right now. And it's just ridiculous. Like I feel like a frat kid, or the frat kid, somebody in school. I think frat is the one that guys do. I never did those. I'm not that social, but yeah. And that I'm just staying up way too late and then suffering for it. Let's see. Um, Paula says, my little dog acts fearful during the night. She stands up and watches something. There's a lot of energies that have been coming in and being present to assist us. And as that's occurring, there's just, noticed. It's noticed by our animals, those lovely companions that are there to protect us. And sometimes, I don't know, it depends on your experience. Everybody's different. Um, I've noticed, however, that most of the reports about the animals engaging with these energies seems more playful. At first, it's a surprise. So they're doing the whole, oh, alarm, there's somebody here. And it very quickly becomes play. You can tell too what energy is, if it's of the love or something else, just by sending out a love signal. Like what we do in that is we just kind of imagine ourselves with whoever is the most important thing in person in our life, like what we love the most. And then imagine yourself saying, I love you while hugging. That energy that you produce in that motion, that's an actual motion, even if you're not really hugging, that's the I love you. And as you send the I love you energy out, if it is of love, it will answer back with love, which is really cool. And it's a lot more love than we gave out. It like fills up your, how like those video games, your life bar can be right here and it like breaks it through because it's so amazing. And if it is not of love, it will flee, for the shadow cannot stand before the light. It's too disruptive. It's uncomfortable. They get the heck out of there. Sometimes they'll go, and then run away like, why'd you do that kind of energy? And it's really uncomfortable when they do that. But you're okay and you're safe because you produce that. Stacy, hello. It's so good to see you. Let's see, and Carmen says, I have this nervous today. Yeah, this nervousness. Yeah, energy creeping. I've noticed that too. Oh, I saw the question that I missed. I'm sorry. I'll go back to you in just a second. Sorry. Um, um, this nervous energy isn't ours. I've noticed it too. There's, from my perspective, it's obvious to me because I get emails and stuff. There is this huge, huge wave of new awakening people right now. There are so many new people. Like it's so cool. It is beautiful, and as a result, though, we're also all of a sudden connecting with all these other individuals, and many of them are in that phase of your awakening. Remember that phase where it's like, how many people lied to us? We have to tell everybody the truth and reveal all this stuff, and just that, and then feeling hopeless and feeling like there's like, bad guys gonna get you. That kind of experience. A lot of individuals are having that sensation right now. It's not. It's the phase that we need to all go through at some point, and we're sensing them. And that's really what I'm noticing. So it may be something different than what you had said, though, Carmen. Vanya had the question is, how much can we shed off the physical body without losing it altogether? That's a valid question. I'm not entirely sure. I know we're moving toward a light body, and I don't know of a time frame, or I do know that whatever your body's asking you to do right now is something that's worth listening to. That has been the most powerful tool that I have gotten when it comes to Ascension Symptoms, is the ability to listen to my body. For many, many, many years, in my experience, I had chosen to ignore my body and to do things to cover up and mask symptoms and sensations that were unpleasant. For instance, eating really bad food and then taking an antacid after. And that was just kind of like the thing that I would do all the time. And I was always dealing with these different problems. And then I'd have side effects from the medication and just this whole thing. And instead, what I started to do is to listen to my body and try to follow what it's asking me to do. For the longest time, I ate breakfast, for instance, and because it's the healthiest meal of the day. However, I would always be sick for 2 to 4 hours after I ate breakfast every single day, for at least starting in high school, right? And then, only a few years ago, truly 10, 12 years ago, I gave my body permission to not have to eat breakfast anymore. And I didn't miss it either. Like I didn't have any loss of energy or anything like that. My body doesn't want it, and so I don't make it. Another thing that a lot of people are having as we transition, our bodies transition, is that our diets change, which is what's occurring, and kind of what Vanya was saying, is that our bodies slowly produce examples that we call often allergies or food allergies. And what is an allergy? It truly is it's an adverse reaction to a substance. And so as our bodies produce the signals to show you there is an adverse reaction, and so we stopped ingesting that thing, then our body says thank you, right? And also that's true for cravings and things that our body's asking for. We have a variety of minerals and nutrients that our body is requiring that it didn't before, and also that it can no longer process adequately and efficiently like it did before. My example in particular is meat. At first, I couldn't eat any ground beef, and then just red meat altogether. That's just me, and I'm not harking. Everybody has their journey, Everybody has their experience, and slowly I became more of a vegan, and that's just how it works for me. So. Um, it's so good to see you, Stacey. I hope you come around more often too. I've missed you. Jackie says, my teeth and gums have had some weird sensations and twitching around my cheeks and mouth. Oh, that's so annoying. Yes, I know what you're talking about. I think I have all the symptoms too. Laugh out loud. I also know when energies are stronger because my kitty sleeps way more. Right. So the mouth area, that's something that a lot of people are experiencing stuff around right now. And remember, so how it's worked, globally speaking, the collective kind of resides in a chakra space. There's a chakra that, for the most part, everybody's living in. And then as we grow toward a higher evolutionary space, then we move into the chakra that's next up, right? And for the longest time, the collective has been living in the solar plexus, or the golden or the yellow chakra. And now many of them are moving into the heart space, or on their way there. And that's really cool. The heart chakra, that's like the new era that we're moving into. So beautiful. And many of us already having worked on a variety of chakras and are kind of, many of you, all I would say most of you, or if not all of you, are evolved at this point in a spiritual manner, are now working in this throat chakra space. And so there's a lot of areas that covers. Many people are even noticing the throat chakra activation being in sinuses, even the above sinus areas. And so there's just this trauma, tooth difficulty, gum, as well as thyroid kind of stuff. I notice that my voice becomes gruff on occasion, particularly when I'm sharing something that in the past I had earmarked as something that maybe I should keep private in order to avoid consequence, and those kinds of things. And that's really the majority of why most of us are struggling through this heart or throat chakra activation, is that we have a lot of barriers that we've added to that for good reason over time. Whether we come from a lifetime where we were part of the witch trials or some other type of persecution as a result of speaking our truth, of speaking the truth, and allowing ourselves to be our authentic true selves. And so as we allow ourselves to do it a little bit at a time, this throat and mouth stuff fades away. That's actually why we do the Zoom meetings. So we have a weekly Zoom meeting on Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's free. We do it for 3 hours, so that way people can come and go when they need to. And that provides us, that's one example. There's many of space that's provided in order for people to use their throat chakra. And your throat chakra is also activated by listening to that truth that is your truth too, that's validating your truth. And so a lot of people do join and not turning on their camera or their audio and just listening. And that's perfectly awesome. And it does help that experience. The twitching part drives me bananas, though usually the twitching has to do with density moving through, kind of like how the screen or the mesh of a window, that when you spray water through it, even though the water gets through, there's still a shaking because there's that resistance of the screen, and that's kind of what's occurring. That was an archangel channeled message a little while ago as people started to have those experiences, not just in the throat and her mouth area, but also in large groups. Like there's a heightened occurrence of individuals having like severe Charlie horses and muscle spasms. There's a heightened report right now of people talking about having what they're calling actually muscular seizures. There's groups of their body is just in such a intensified experience, and that's an extreme example, though a lot of people are having that kind of thing, and that's that motion, that movement of those energies to get to move out. So it's really helpful in the end. And then also the last part of your comment, Jackie, a lot of animals are being noticed to be experiencing a lot of these ascension symptoms. They're really in tune, and though their consciousness may or may not, depending on, I don't know, the variety of whatever's, all animals are being affected in a very real way. In particular, those who we take on as pets, there's this transcendence that occurs when we connect with an animal, whether it be at first in the wild and or where we get it from a pet store. It's the same concept, is that we give an identity and a connection, and we actually assist that soul in order to join in this experience, and to evolve spiritually. It's really a gift to the soul of the animal to be its owner, or to be its friend in this experience, in this life. So those who do that, thank you for doing that. That's the service. Stacy, just jumping on to acknowledge the insomnia, loss of appetite, and clear sight. Yeah, the appetite thing has really been a thing back and forth, where I go through periods of just like, all of a sudden I just want to eat, but I don't want to eat anything. Like, I know I'm hungry, my body's telling me to eat, and it just, nothing sounds good, and it's okay. I acknowledge and notice my body enough to know that if I'm skipping of a series of meals, that I'll be all right, and please use use your mind while you're experiencing this, and understand your own body. If you have something like diabetes or something, allow yourself to stay safe, and at the same time, try to listen to your body and follow what it's asking for you to do. The insomnia thing, it's really bizarre, because I want to call it insomnia, but I feel incorrect in calling it that too, just because it's not so much that I can't sleep once I lay down. It's that I can't make myself lay down. It's like, this is the exciting part of the night, but I don't know why it is. It's very bizarre, and it's been consistent to where it's really taking a toll on my energy level. It's very fascinating. Heidi says, my body has been vibrating. Yes, yes, yes. In the legs, next day my arms, then neck. Strange. I am just accepting it. That is an awesome experience, Heidi. I'm so happy that you're having that. You're feeling energy. So we are conduits. We're basically like a tube, right? We're like a pipe where energy can flow, energy from above and from below. Hey, I was just Dr. Seuss just now. And as this energy highway moves through us, as we open ourselves up and accept that gift, then we start to notice it. And as it does that too, it's actually helping us in a lot of different ways. We're allowing this highway to occur. We're allowing energies to move on and through it out that have been stagnant and stuck here for a long time, often being referred to as bad guys. They're just caged animals that need to get out of here too, and so as they're moving through, a lot of times we feel like this vibration, this experience, and not just the things that don't resonate with us, but also this beautiful love light. As it's moving through, we vibrate, and we are channeling this light down into the earth, and that it looks kind of like we're expanding a balloon in some way in this beautiful light. And the more that the light fills this earth, the more vibrant the colors become, and the more variety of colors that we're able to perceive in a spectrum of light through our own eyes. Stacy, I will see you all soon. I have missed you guys. Just working through all of this. I know we are better together, and my heart remains with you always. Oh, thank you, Stacy. I've thought a lot about you. It's really good to hear from you. Thank you for joining us today. Eric says, I don't want to eat either. Sometimes I force myself to eat. Yeah, I do as well. Especially if I'm feeling a lot of one of the main ascension symptoms that for me comes back and then out again after a while, it returns, um, is this dizziness, this like lightheaded / vertigo dizziness thing. There isn't a physical way for a doctor in medicine to explain or describe what I'm going through, except that it's simply something I'm reporting. There's nothing wrong with me, is what I'm saying. And as those moments of like, wow, I'm really dizzy come in, often I think, oh, how long has it been since I've eaten, thinking that that's it, and kind of forcing myself to eat. And then I'm like, oh, that wasn't it. I'm still dizzy. But once I'm feeling in that place of love and I'm not in that place of fear, because we do that a lot. That's what makes this the most complicated, I would say. Doing ascension symptoms, being in an ascension symptom, and knowing that you're safe, noticing how secure you truly are, how protected you are, because we automatically, many of us, knee jerk to that, oh, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be okay? And all that kind of stuff, especially, I mean, some of these symptoms that we're having can be, an earmark to something much worse. For instance, these heart palpitations don't feel like you're okay when you're in it. And so to allow yourself to breathe through it. And as we breathe with intention, we're reminding our body that we're safe. The way that we tend to breathe as a species, or I don't know about a species, but most often we breathe very shallowly. And as a result, that's actually the kind of breath that occurs when somebody is in a place of alarm, panic, their safety is questioned. And so as we learn to let ourselves breathe more completely and deeply, our body remembers that we're safe and that we're okay. And a lot of times when we do that kind of breathing, then the ascension symptom that we're experiencing comes in a lot more mild, and sometimes it can become pleasant. I'm still doing it, I know, but this is just it's a beautiful motion of energy. Using hands to move stuff, by the way, totally works. You don't have to do this sitting all in, like, yeah, the Wim Hof breathing method. Thank you so much, Jackie. Allowing that motion, that life. This is life force. In sign language, life is breath. That is life. If they use L, they use the L, and that it's to breath, life. Allowing the breath to move through the way that it's meant to allows you to exist in this space with calm, and then fully understand and away from that fear paradigm just enough that we can observe the beauty of the moment. It's something to try. Also, if the symptoms become, hey, it's 3:33 here, 3:33. If the symptoms become too severe for you, you begin to find that it's a little bit that you need to kind of a break. You can ask for one. What I do is I will visualize a dial like an old radio, and I'll turn it down. And I'll turn it all the way down. I usually start out visualizing it being at a maximum number, so it's easy to understand that's what I'm doing. And so that really helps. And what I was saying about the motion of the hands before I forget, a lot of us early on kind of feel like when we're doing meditation that we have to, like, there's a certain way to sit and you can only do it this way, and your hands, you have to hold your fingers in a certain way, and all these different like stories that we picked up along the way somewhere, because many of us have the same notion that you're able to go someplace and to not ever have any thoughts until you're done with the meditation. That's just an obscure thought. It doesn't occur in my case. I'm simply acknowledging the pedestrians on the road instead of acknowledging them and engaging with them, and that's just the difference. So as a thought moves through, I let it move out. And it's okay to move. It's okay to move in meditation. In fact, I find it to be more effective. If I feel like I want to use my hands to create the energy, I'm using the energy of my body and I'm helping it. As well as I tend to rock or sway in a circle when I'm in meditation. allowing my body to do what it wants, and there's been times where I have been sitting in lotus position on the floor in full on meditation, completely someplace else, and felt the inclination and need to stand up without even touching anything. I just stood up and then realized later on, I'm standing and still in full on meditation. Um, Allow your body to do what it needs to. There's not as many rigid rules as most of us come to think that it's true. So something to keep in mind. Um, let's see, I skipped some things. Paula says more and more orbs appearing in photos and videos. So this orbs, seeing light orbs. Also, a lot of times they look like a root system, like a palm root system of color. So it, like some people call them creepy crawlies, some people call them like spider webs. They're really cool, happy, giddy energies. We'll see a lot of those. They Most people notice them in the sunlight and often will think that it's like they're seeing a blood vessel or something. It looks like a hand. It's very similar to with like crooked vein like structure around it. Those are just these beautiful energies, and they're different colors. There's an orange one, or there'll be a yellow one, or a green one. I see them more readily in the night when it's the room is very dark and very dim. It's easier to perceive them for me, um, as well as the light orbs. The other one a lot of people are seeing too more frequently is the silhouette of a person. And so what I mean by that is it looks like that there's like this real faded white aura around somebody, though there's nobody within that you can see at that moment. That is a very, very common sighting that's happening right now. And I just want to let you know they're not just suddenly showing up. Okay. These are beautiful, loving, light energies. Some of them are new. There are more individuals joining us, and helping us at this time. The amount of light being garnered in this particular point in the cosmos is overwhelmingly beautiful. It's so cool. Um, However, most of these energies are people, are individuals that have always been on your light team. They've always been with you and readily available at all times. They're the guardian angels. They're the coincidences. They're the things. They're the support team that have always been there to whisper a reminder of a memory for you. Those types of things, and as these energies have been here this whole time, we still haven't been able to perceive them always. And now again, like where our vibrating point was here, which was a great place to be, though now we're slowly moving our vibration up higher, we're able to start perceiving these energies as well as noticing them, like where you can feel them all the way around you. I've been noticing hugs. Like I've been having such a great time with that. We're getting to feel a real hug. Like before, it was the energy of hug. Like I understood that was a hug and it felt good because of it. Though it feels like a real hug now. Like it's so cool. You can call on any of these energies that you want to. If you find them disruptive and not in alignment for you at this time, you can also ask them to not do that. You don't have to have these experiences. If anything alarms you or is unsettling for you, that is the last thing that they want. They are not looking to disrupt you in any way. So you can ask them to not come around. You can also give direction or a suggestion or advice on how to present themselves to you in a way that's more palatable for you. I've guided many people to do that, where you could say, you know, in order to announce yourself, will you tap on this particular wall or something like that? Like that kind of lets you know, like they're knocking on your door and you can choose to answer the door or not, kind of an idea, rather than feeling like you're helpless and a victim of circumstance, because that's not what's intended for any of this. So that's, I'm going to catch up over here. I have been like that, Jackie, says Stacy. Have literally had crackers and avocado today, and that is all. And I just don't feel hunger. Yeah, I don't think I've eaten for a couple of days, but I still feel like I'm good. I've had a lot of orange juice though, so but I don't, it's spring here. So that's kind of typical too. We'll find out what happens a little bit more down the road. I do know right now, I don't, those of you who missed the beginning of this, the energy culmination that we're having right now is so amazing and so beautiful. And it's also increasing a lot of our symptoms. And usually when we go through that window, there's this fasting period, this natural fasting period. I call that like unplanned fasting because I don't plan to fast. It's just that I do let myself skip meals. I don't eat breakfast and usually don't eat lunch and just have the meal in the evening. However, sometimes after you skip the meal in the evening a few times, you realize, oh, it's been days since I've eaten. And almost always when we're moving into a place like we are right now, then we end up going through a fasting period. This is typical for all of these spiritual schools of thought, if you think about it, like Hinduism and Buddhism and these different priest monk groups will usually go through a window of time where this is time to fast before the spiritual um, activation or ceremony or whatever it is they're about to do. It's really a common thing. So it makes sense that we naturally just do that. Um, we have a heightened and incredible increase in solar activity. I've been watching it today. There have been these tornadoes, these really big CMEs, these ejections of plasma coming off that when they do impact, it's going to be really a big one. And then going up and then finally just collecting back into the sun, and it's doing this cycle and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And who knows? But if it's Earth facing when it finally does erupt, that's going to make quite the impact. Not to mention all of these M and X class flares that we're already getting. There's a lot of ways to look that up, by the way. The solar weather, you can look up solar flares just in a regular internet search, and you'll find all kinds of resources on that, as well as YouTube channels that report that. Let me try to catch up. It's so cool to have you all here. Thank you for joining me. Let's see. I don't know where I left off. There we go. Carmen says, after Wim Hof meditation, I have bliss feeling. Yeah, it clears out. Also, what I'll notice, this is what I'll do. I'll do what's also called fire breathing meditation. And that's just like a series of like breathing heavily for like really hard for a series of, like I'm going to do it for 4 times or I'm going to do it for 7 times or whatever. And then it's also breathing in as much as you can into your diaphragm. Remember, you're expanding your belly, but then holding it. I notice that when I hold the breath in meditation, I can feel the energy like swelling and collecting within me. And so that's just something to do. And I usually do that. And then I'll do the Wim Hof is like, and you're back to being right as rain. Let's see. Stacy, I have been like, oh yeah, I read that. Carmen, where was I at? There we go. Carmen says, don't do Wim Hof before going to bed. It releases DMT into your brain. That's good advice. Thank you, Carmen. Jackie says, yes, giving myself permission to eat the things I do sometimes crave, even if it's not the healthiest at times. Yeah. I just recently ate some Halloween candy, which is a big deal for me. I don't eat processed and I don't eat sugar, like and white sugars and things like that. But and I don't know why my body kept wanting me to. I kept thinking about it, and so I finally did, and I noticed that it cleared me out. And I think, and I've every time that I've done something like that my body's craving it, it's like my body wants to do a clear out. Perhaps that's the only reason that it craves it. Who knows? But whatever the reason, your body knows what it wants. And once you start to listen and understand the body, and that's communicating with you versus the mind, then or just habit, then it becomes a lot easier. Stacy, okay. Teresa says, nerve pain in legs, toes, arms, and fingers. I can feel the energy moving along these regions. Yeah, okay. So nerve pain, what kind of nerve pain are we talking? Because I think that I know, in my experience, there's been a lot of conversation about this. There's 2 different kinds. People are feeling like the sciatic kind of nerve experience in very strange places. And the appearance of it only lasts for, there's a brief experience. Often a sciatic pinched nerve experience is kind of a chronic condition until there's an intervention or the swelling of something goes down. However, this seems to be, it only comes in and then it's gone. It heals itself. It moves out on its own. Then there's the other experience that a lot of us are having, which is the pins and needles. Like the sensation that like your hand goes to sleep or your arm goes to sleep when you're sleeping or something like that. And then when it's coming, it's getting the circulation back into it again. It gets that pins and needles feeling. A lot of people are having that sensation, and specific little patches as well as areas of like muscle groups in the body. And I've understood that as I'm experiencing that. And everyone's different though. As I'm in it, I just know what's happening, and that what is happening is that I'm moving into a higher body experience. And so I'm actually sensing self differently. Like there are moments where I'm like, was my back numb all this time? Why all of a sudden am I feeling it so much more intensely? It's not pain that I'm sensing wings. And so as I'm sensing that, it's a different sensation. And I'm sensing energetic wings, like actual wings coming off my back. A lot of people are. The first symptom of that for most people are noticing the tiredness in their shoulders, the soreness in their shoulders, and then noticing also the like your shoulder blades, the area of your shoulder blades just having discomfort, as well as like weird twitching and spasming and stuff like that. And then a heightened sense of that part of your body being able to notice that skin, the sensation that your skin feels as well. So that's just like a lot of interesting things. So thank you for mentioning that. In particular, by the way, the extremities, that's where the energy is moving out, right? As we're moving out things through and out of us, they tend to evacuate through like our fingers, our toes, and things like that. So some of that is the sense of just feeling it moving out, so Jackie says, that's when I do my Wim Hof, Carmen. Best to read. Having a little DMT with your dream. Natural DMT. Teresa, taking cold showers help the pain move out of the body. Interacting with water in any way, and it's especially cold. I actually, I find it very difficult to follow my own advice about that cold water thing, though. I got to be honest. I am one of those people that I like my water really, really, really hot. And so I do struggle. Interacting with water, I've found it more grounding to bathe or to interact with water than I do any other method. In fact, that experience of being in there and allowing that to move through while we're interacting with the water, saying I love you and I appreciate you, you're you're changing that water into holy water, basically, right? Now this is a higher frequency water. Same with when you're doing dishes and all kinds of stuff. Just being allows that water to transmute and to change and move more into its correct self. And as you change and transmute that water molecule, then its interaction with the next water molecule will be a heightened one as well. And it helps, it moves through. So there's all that, as well as how it assists us. My other added note to that is I also thank the water for what I am requiring or requesting from it. So I'll say things like, thank you for taking those things off of me that do not serve me any longer. And I'll say that part in particular, usually when the water's draining down, like I've already taken a bath and I'm letting it drain off of me as it goes down the drain. That visual really helps. So, as well as Epsom salt. I'm a big, big fan of Epsom salt. Let's see where I was at. Stacy says, exactly. I don't want to call it insomnia, but it is worse. That I can use for the lack of sleep. It takes me about an hour to sleep. Then I fall asleep. Within an hour or two, I am awake for hours. Yeah, I do the same thing. I sleep for about 2 hours, sometimes an hour, and then I'm up for about an hour or two. And then I'll do that until, I don't have any more time where I'm allowed to sleep because I have to do busy stuff. Karen, you're in Washington too. Welcome from Vancouver. Paula says, any thought on the March 22nd, 2023 equinox that so many people seem to be talking about? Yeah, actually, I have quite a few. Mostly that there are a lot of places that are trying to sensationalize things and make people afraid. Um, and I don't resonate with that in any way. Like I kind of I work to not judge. That's the only place where I really find it. I struggle to not judge. Um, because it's sad that we want to cause other individuals to be in fear for no reason. This is a time that's so cool. Like I have been looking forward to this month in particular for years, for years. And this isn't even the best part. Um, we're getting in more light, more love, more support, and we're more capable to utilize all the tools that are being laid at our feet. We are more able to comprehend the information that is being sent down to us through the crystals in the air. We are more capable to stand in our truth and to stand up for ourselves. We are more able and willing to use our voice and to speak that truth, even in the mixed crowds that maybe don't resonate with what we're saying, and we speak it anyway. We are becoming aware of how powerful we truly are. And not only that, but the sheer number of us. And as all of that has culminated to this particular point, we are also enjoying some added addition of, it looks kind of like a spiral if you look at it, if you pull back energetically, and where we are is the beginning of the edge into the bullseye. And that bullseye is a time where all things, no matter from what timeline and from what part of the cosmos, can see as a pinpoint, this is the time. And that particular moment is being sampled by us in this window. And so as this light comes through, it can feel disrupting if we let ourselves be in a state of alarm. And so that is why I say, so I'm trying to explain so clearly to know that this is a beautiful time, to a time of accepting this light. When we open ourselves to acceptance, it's like taking that screen off the window. The water will still flow even if we don't remove the screen, but it will shake and there will be disruption and it will spray back and cause a little bit of a mess, though it'll still happen. Um, so as we move up, as Pluto moves into Aquarius, as we enjoy this new moon, as we have all of these things lining up, Ceres coming in, Ceres is in opposition. There's a lot of really important alignments that are happening right now. For them all to occur on the equinox is quite a big ordeal. And then this is, again, like I said, a sampling because many of the elements that we are experiencing right now astrologically will return back into that same phase for a much longer time, starting in the beginning of April 2024. Not surprisingly, along the same time as the other bookend total solar eclipse that are able to be perceived as a total eclipse over the US. And when that occurs and all of that stuff starts, that's really when we're fully going to be able to understand the energy that's before us. But as we go for this moment, know that to follow your own instinct, that it's great to hear someone else say the same thing that you're already thinking or to validate you in some way. However, what that's for is to assist you to learn to trust yourself because you already know. You are directly connected to God, each one of you, all of us. That's the great trick of many of the religious bodies is to create this illusion that there has to be an intermediary between you and God, like a priest or a rabbi or whatever the individual is. And that's not true. You are directly connected to God. And as you are, and you begin to learn that it's okay, and then there's a good reason to trust yourself, then you can start to utilize the information that's moving through you. And so to follow that instinct is just really a beautiful tool, though being gentle with yourself, knowing that it takes time. It takes time to break a conditioned response, right? And to move away from something that you were taught that may not be in alignment with the truth, or at least who you are. Hey, Mandolin, welcome. I am. We're live. I missed last week. I can't remember what had occurred, and I apologize for that. It's gotten very busy on my end, being that a lot of individuals are reaching out for one-on-ones. I do one-on-ones for $22 an hour, and it's very awesome to connect with individuals. And I'm finding that I'm falling behind and reaching back. So if I haven't responded to you yet, I promise I'm going to. Um, Thank you for your understanding. Um, Julie says maybe a little bit, maybe just a little bit. Stacy, nervousness / excitement, same vibration. Yeah, yeah, it really is. And when we tune into it and understand exactly what it is, then it's a little easier to know that to be in that happy place, right? Karen says, is your super chat turned off? I don't see where to send you a donation. Oh, thank you, Karen. I actually don't know how to make super chat start. I think I have to monetize to do that. And in order to do that, um, it would put commercials that don't have anything to do with what we're talking about into my videos. And I just feel like that would be unkind to you guys. And so I do have a link I have put into my description of this video and all of my videos of my PayPal if you're interested in giving a donation in that way. I appreciate the consideration. Thank you, Karen. Um, and Medlin says, gut health is good thing to be aware of now. Yeah, we were just talking about that, Mandolin. When in fact it was the three chakras there, the three lower chakras, truly, starting at the top of the stomach all the way down to the tip of the tailbone. That energy space. A lot of individuals are having quite a bit of what feels like disturbance. Um, Thank you for bringing that up. Stacy Starseed says, yes, nothing is helping. Tried everything, all natural. Yeah, and you know, another really important tool that a lot of us sometimes forget is simply to go out and be in nature. Um, Even if you can't be in nature, if you are able to withstand the cold or whatever the temperature is, to stand on the concrete as well, not the blacktop, the rubbery blacktop stuff, but the like on the streets, but the concrete and like a walkway or something like that is better than nothing. If you can get into nature, if you can get out into the trees and a little bit away from civilization, even if you can hear the cars and you can hear the traffic, get into nature if possible. That really helps. Grounding in a variety of ways, bathtubs, foot soaks, um, especially Epsom salt baths, I find very useful. That is another important tool, by the way. As we get all these solar flares coming through, we are going to continue to get the same benefit from them, even if we have a buffer. So the buffer is a bucket of salt water or a bathtub half full with some salt in it. That helps the ionization process. So what's occurring, right? So you know how we talk about earthing by standing on the soil, standing on the sand, you know, letting our hands interact with it, um, barefoot, you know, without gloves, that kind of thing. And we do that to create this ionization process. And that is that the positively charged ions that are in our body or on our energy field are that buzzy energy that someone needs to turn off that annoying noise that I don't know where it's coming from kind of energy, you know, and not even realizing it's there. And then that the earth will accept those positively charged ions into herself gladly and then give us the negatively charged ions. The same thing happens in the air, particularly when we are getting solar flares. There's a lot of positively charged ions floating around in the air, causing an accelerated symptom experience that often is very disruptive. And so, having a bucket of water or a bathtub half full of water with some salt in it in your home where you're spending time really help. I've actually started to get into the habit of when I know that a solar flare is going to be hitting us or a series of very strong ones and I need my rest, I'll take a bucket and I'll fill it half full of salt water. And I don't notice hardly any of the symptoms in my sleep. I will when I wake. And so that really helps. That's something that you can consider. Um, Madeline says, So this is where y'all are. Oh, we have a Telegram group also for anyone who's interested. It's probably what you're talking about. You can find the link for the Telegram group in the description of this video and in pretty much every video that I have done, at least over the past year or so. So, and it's just a bunch of us. I think there's like 200 people from all over the world that come in and just connect at various times of the day and night. So there's always somebody out there, so if you don't feel comfortable enough to join us on our Zoom meetings, then maybe try that method first. It's really a cool group of people, beautiful light workers, empaths, people who have been on this journey a long time, people who just woke up into their spiritual awakening, and all of it in between. It's really cool. Stacy Starseed, nature works. I go a lot, but when I get home, it starts again. Yeah, there definitely is that, and it's more noticeable how it feels less in balance when you come back. Like it's a relief to leave, and then when the coming back, it seems like almost more of a shock. I understand what you're saying. Jackie says, I have been taking apple cider vinegar capsules and a pre, pro, and postbiotic. Awesome. How much have those been helping? I'm very curious. Oh, I have to get going. It's 4:01. Let me hurry and try to catch a couple more of these comments really quick. Black onyx is helpful with releasing blocked energy. Yes, Teresa. I've been collecting black stones lately. Like they're just coming into my experience. Like does anybody know what this stone is? Like I don't know if you can get a very good example of it, but I don't know what kind of stone that is. It's really cool though. I really like it. It's a cool wand. Yeah, but the black has really been a thing that's been showing up in my experience lately. Let me hurry and try to catch up. Let's see. Julie Tut says good quality digestive enzymes too. Yeah. Karen, is anyone having loud gurgling stomachs? My caregiver hears mine in the next room. Very embarrassing. Yeah, I definitely, there's a lot of stuff happening right there. And by the way, when we let density move through us and out, there's always a space that's left behind that's twice the size at least of air. And when that air is presented there, what's needed really to assist it through, it does it naturally on its own, though you can do it, but you can accelerate it with intention to send the light of God there, watching the light of God coming down through one of your chakras. It could typically often is the crown, but it can be any chakra. If you choose to send it to a chakra, I would suggest perhaps a different chakra. I would suggest perhaps the one closest to the area of the body affected, and letting the light move through and fill up that void. Often, as this happens, there's a lot more flatulence, a lot more burping, and also the audible sound of our stomachs being really weird. Yeah. I do have to get going. I'm so happy to see everybody here. Labradorite, yes, thank you. Oh wait, I don't know. Is this labradorite? I don't know. I can look into that. That's really, thank you for saying that, Nada. All right, I do have to get going. I love you all. Thank you for coming. Oh, there were crickets over in Telegram, Madeline says. Oh, a crystal shop. Nice. Yeah, I love you all so much. Thank you. I think it's green moss. Okay, that sounds correct. I'm going to check that because I remember there was a note. I went to a gem fair and got this, and there was a note, but it was wrong. I knew it was wrong, and I meant to ask, and then I forgot. And I love it. I just was really curious. It's really pretty. We'll be back again next Sunday. Next Sunday, the plan is to do this at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will see you all there. I love you all, and thank you for your service in this journey. See you soon.